So, my last video about the season finale of Season 1 of The Wheel of Time was completely free of any book spoilers, so it was completely safe for you if you haven't finished the series or if you haven't read any of the Wheel of Time books. This video, the opposite of that. The opposite. This video is not safe. I'm going to be talking about things from the prequel all the way through to the end of the final book of The Wheel of Time, so do not watch this video if you have not finished the series. Oh, I'm also going to be referencing a short story written by Robert Jordan called the Strike at Shale Ghoul, so this is beyond full book spoilers. This is full book and adjacent material spoilers, so do not watch if you haven't finished the series. I implore you. I hate spoilers myself, so the idea of spoiling things for other people, it makes me sad. But if you have finished the series, let's go.
Let's be nerdy, bitch. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy. Let's be nerdy, bitch. Let's be nerdy, bitch. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy,
bitch. Okay, they're gone, right? They're gone. The non-readers, they're gone because, oh my god, it's Shamael! It's Shamael! I cannot tell you how many times while I was filming my non-spoiler, like no-spoiler video, I had to stop and start again because I kept saying Ishamael or Ishi instead of the dark one, and I don't know how those first-time reader podcasts where one of them hasn't finished the series and one of them has read all the books or is a long-time reader. I don't know how they do that. Like, the long-time reader, we got Gus, we got Brett, we got N, there's others, you are all champions. I do not know how you do it. Okay, now that I've gotten that off my chest, as I've done for some of my other full spoiler reaction and breakdown videos, I don't know what to call these videos, but whatever. I'm not going to go in order of the episode. I'm going to go thematically or via plot line, although I've totally given up on trying to figure out what the A, B, and C plot is for now. I just wait and listen to the Wheel Takes episode about the episode. Wheel Takes is a podcast where they're breaking down the television show from a screenwriter's perspective. Check it out. Good podcast. Also, the other ones I mentioned. Cool Story and Will Weaves. Excellent podcasts. Check them out. Anyway, the first scene I want to talk about from a full spoilers perspective is the cold open. Things got a bit heated in my raw reaction video comments because there's a lot of people who think that the show is pushing an agenda of degrading or demeaning men. I believe somebody kept leaving the quote, men bad, woman good, in one, whatever. It's something I think, by the way, is utter nonsense. I find that such a weird bias to go into the show with, but whatever. One of the arguments for this point of view is that they see the characterization of Lews Therin in this cold open. They see the show painting him as arrogant when he wasn't painted that way in the books. And this to me, I'm honestly baffled. I have literally no idea how anyone can read the books and not see Lews Therin as arrogant. In fact, it's actually canon that he was arrogant. Rand, in the last battle, when he had fully integrated his memories, he's literally, he's fully Lews and fully Rand. Sorry. The little Jenny that grew up in the church just heard fully God and fully man when I said fully Lews and fully Rand. That was really weird. But he has, he's fully both of them. He thinks of himself as an Aes Sedai and as, someone who sat in the hall of the Aes Sedai in the Age of Legend because he has Lews Therin's memories. He's fully both of these people. When he's speaking during the last battle, he says this. This is a direct quote from the books. And yes, he made mistakes. I made mistakes. Speaking as Lews Therin, he says, I made mistakes. I grew arrogant, desperate. He says that. That is book canon. Lews Therin himself acknowledges his arrogance. But a lot of people, so many people, especially in my comments on that video, focus on the second word, the desperation that he was feeling. Lews Therin was desperate. The battle had gone on for so long, the Dark One looked like he was going to win. And yeah, this is a very, very bad situation. But to that I say, was Lews Therin the only person who was experiencing the War of the Power? Did he not think anyone else at the time, any of the female Aes Sedai and most of the male Aes Sedai, remember, he only got 99 of them to go with him, did he not think that any of them realized how bad the situation was? Because that, in and of itself, that's bloody arrogant. That's him being we're all living through this war, but I'm the only one who understands how bad this is. That's a pretty arrogant thing to say. And given that I'm just going to assume, this is a fictional world, but I'm going to assume that most of the female Aes Sedai, Latra, and most of the male Aes Sedai had not taken complete leave of their senses and had realized just as much as Lews Therin did that the situation was really bad, but still thought that his plan was a bad one. They weren't just making that decision lightly. In fact, I actually think the show portrays Lews in a better light than the Strike at Shale Ghul does. In that story, Lews goes off and does his thing at the boar in secret. He doesn't tell the Hall, he doesn't tell Latra, he just goes and does it. In the show, he has a reasoned discussion with Latra. There is disagreement, but Latra knows what is about to happen and is able to prepare because Lews didn't just sneak off and do it. He respected her enough to tell her what he was going to do. He's less arrogant in the show. And just to, what the word I'm looking for, preclude, I don't know, the people who will say that it's actually the women's fault, that if the women had joined the men and joined Lews Therin's plan, his plan would have worked. We actually have the word of Robert Jordan in at least 2 interviews. I'm going to put the quotes up here that I could find quotes for in like the little bit of time that I just did my research on Google, saying that that's not true. Robert Jordan, the author of the books that we're discussing here, said that if the women had joined Lews Therin, both Saidar and Saidin would have been tainted. It would have been much, much worse. Latra and all of those who opposed Lews Therin were right. Okay, that rant aside, I loved this look at the Age of Legends. And, okay, did you catch this? This amazing shot of the Age of Legends city. Uno's eye patch on Twitter posted this comparison shot. And yeah, mind blown. This is incredible. Look at that. That is so cool. Okay, cold open done. I'm going to jump all the way ahead to the, I still don't know what to call the opposite of a cold open. A hot closed? I have no idea. The final scene, the Seanchan. They obviously look different from the books, but I think that they look fantastic. They are ominous and terrifying. And oh my god, the Damani, their costumes look suitably horrifying. Whatever is going on in their mouth, I do not want. Imagining Egwene in that gave me like pre-PTSD, I did notice that there's no leashes, but I don't think that's a massive deal. The leashes actually aren't necessary for the link to work in the book. They do convey, the leashes convey a bit of a humiliating and demeaning air to the Damani, but I think whatever the hell is happening in the Damani's mouth in these costumes does that just fine, thank you very much. Plus, there still could be leashes, who knows? There could be different levels of Damani, I don't know. That's up in the air. The next scene that I want to talk about from a spoiler perspective is the one that made me cry. Lan and Nynaeve and Lan's poetry. I will hate the man you choose because he is not me. I will love him if he makes you smile. Literally, I burst into tears when I heard those lines because I was so happy. But I think that this scene needed something more to make it perfect, to make it work. Those lines, Lan says, they are amazing. They are perfect and they're wonderful. But in the show, they come somewhat out of context. In the books, Lan says those lines to Nynaeve after telling her that he cannot be with her because of his, useless war with the Blight. Although he says that part poetically too. He doesn't just say, I have a useless war, but whatever. So in the books, he says these beautiful lines to encourage Nynaeve to choose another man because he himself cannot be with her. In the show, he has not done or said anything to indicate to Nynaeve that he can't be with her. Now, I suppose we could interpret this moment that as him going off into the Blight to die, but A, Nynaeve is asking and expecting him to bring Rand back with him, so I don't think that tracks. And B, if he's going to die, then how can he hate or love any man that Nynaeve chooses? That, it doesn't follow? It doesn't work. There just need to be some lines. Not even that many lines, but just sort of like a, hey, sorry, Wisdom, I can't be with you. I've got an appointment with a pointless death in the Blight. Again, said much better than that. To lead into this amazing poetry, because to me, right now, these lines come out of nowhere. There are no obstacles right now to Lan and Nynaeve's relationship in the show to inspire this poetry. Amelisa and Agomar. I'll say again what I said in my no spoiler video. We don't actually see Agomar die, and I've been watching TV and movies for a very long time, and so I'm not buying it. I don't think he's dead. Amelisa, on the other hand, she died, and I think the show spent so much time with them, like more time than I would have liked, if I'm honest, to try and make me feel the gravity of their fates, but I just didn't. Especially Annalisa. That woman killed people. Like, the first woman burnt out during the battle. Okay, that's a battle death. The second one was after all the Trollocs were dead. She just wouldn't stop channeling. So when she died, Annalisa, I mean, I was just mostly like, oh, good. Of course, though, this means that we have to deal with like a change in book canon. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that when you are in a link, like in a circle, you are protected from being burnt out, especially if you're not the one leading the channeling. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a change from the books. But I'm not too concerned about it, to be honest, because there's not all that much linking in the books. And so, I mean, it happens, but I don't think it happens enough that there's like a huge amount of ripple effects going out from this change here. And B, I think it simplifies things for people who haven't read the books. Like, we just have a rule. Don't draw too much. If you make a bunch of exceptions, it can make things muddy for them, and it can lead to them thinking there are plot holes when there aren't. Like, oh, she was drawing so much. Why didn't she burn out there? Oh, well, that's because she's like, it can lead to things not seeming as concrete and real for them. But also, see, we actually don't know all of that, what was going on there, right? Like, I mean, it could actually be more complicated instead of more simple, because Amelisa is not, like, she was not a full sister. She was not fully trained. She might not have known what she was doing. So, in the books, I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to remember what I know about linking, but I don't think you're taught how to link early on in your Aes Sedai training, so she might have just been doing things wrong. I'm open to any of these possibilities, really. None of them breaks things too much for me. Oh, okay, but I want to talk about one more thing with Amelisa before I move on to Nynaeve. I am not a military campaign person. I don't understand military strategy or formations. I tend to skim over the descriptions of the battle scenes in the books, because any book I read, to be honest, because I can't picture it very well, and so I can't figure out what's happening. I just want to know, I care about the characters in there. But so whatever, when we see this battle scene playing out, there might be something that I'm missing just because this is not my area of expertise, but why did she wait so long before unleashing the power? Like, why hold? She waited until the Trollocs were super close to her, and there was no need to do that. Like, with arrows, you have to wait until they're in range, but there was no reason for that with the power. The reason Alanna had to wait in episode 4 was because of the oaths. Alanna had to wait until she felt like she was in danger before she brought the arrows down on the Dragonsworn. Amelisa is facing a horde of Trollocs, and she hasn't taken the oaths. Why not blow them up before they're within like a dozen meters of you? I don't know. It didn't make any sense. Plus, why not take the women to the gap? The women decimated the Trollocs. So many men died in the gap. 3 women died. 3 women. That's sad. We see it, so I guess we feel it more, but how many men died in the gap? Those women could have gone there, killed all the Trollocs, the same amount that they killed, like, inside the gap, and done it with only 3 casualties. I don't understand military strategy, but this feels bad. It feels like a bad plan. Oh, maybe it's that she just didn't realize how strong Nynaeve and Egwene were until, like, she linked with them, but she also waited until the last minute to try, like, none of them seemed to, like, she had explained to them how to link as the Trollocs were coming in. She could have explained that before. They could have practiced. She could have realized how strong Nynaeve and Egwene were, and then been like, holy crap, you guys are really strong. Let's go kill those Trollocs so my brother doesn't get a spear through his chest. I know I'm not supposed to be thinking about it that much. It's just supposed to be a cool battle scene, but it bothered me, and it could just be also that I'm salty because I'm mad at Amelisa. Like, I was upset with her. Okay, now we move on to Nynaeve. First of all, as I said in my no spoilers review, another fake out death with the same character. Why does she need 2 of those? I think I know what they were doing here. I think they were trying to showcase the Nynaeve that we had at the end of The Eye of the World, who tries to fight a Forsaken with a belt knife. The Nynaeve who will throw herself in front of anyone she even remotely cares about to protect them. And yeah, okay. But we've already seen that with Nynaeve. I don't think this was necessary. And then there's the bookend of her repeating her speech from the very first episode, that whole "fill your braid" and so on. That moment, the braid thing, Book Nynaeve and Show Nynaeve are not 100% the same, to be sure. Although they are very similar. Like, I'm so enjoying Show Nynaeve because while she's in different situations, she feels like Book Nynaeve lifted out and put in these different situations. I recognize her. But this moment I didn't recognize. It felt the most different from the books that I've seen her be so far. Book Nynaeve would never make a big deal about sacrificing herself. It's one of the things I love about her, and one of the things I think that can cause people to overlook how selfless Nynaeve actually is. In The Great Hunt, for example, when her and Elaine are running out of money, we only know that Nynaeve is foregoing eating meals because Elaine brings it up. Elaine mentions, like, you have been not hungry several times recently. Nynaeve is foregoing meals so that Elaine will have enough to eat, and she would never have brought that up. In fact, she gets annoyed when Elaine brings it up. And when they are going to rescue Egwene, Nynaeve goes over her plan in her head and very, very matter-of-factly includes the fact in her plans that, in her mental plans, that if things go sideways, she will do whatever she can to make sure the Seanchan go after her so that Elaine can escape. In The Fires of Heaven, when Moggies are trapped in Teleran Riyadh, and is threatening Elaine again. It always seems to be Elaine. Anyway, Nynaeve, again, very, very matter-of-factly tries to think, how can I protect Elaine? How can I get word to her? Oh, I know. If I die, that will save Elaine. Okay, let me make Moggy kill me. She doesn't think about this as a big deal. There's no sidetracking about, oh, this is such a big thing that I'm doing. This is a sacrifice. Oh my God. There's none of that. She just does it, which is why, this is part of why I think Nynaeve doesn't realize her own bravery. She thinks she's a coward because she doesn't realize what a big deal these moments of sacrifice are. But this moment when she gives this impassioned speech, feel your braid, never alone, always alone, blah, blah, blah. It was one of the few moments in the show where I've been like, oh, that's different. That is a different person. That is not Book Nynaeve. That is show Nynaeve. Because Book Nynaeve would not have made a big deal about this, because Book Nynaeve would not have realized it was a big deal. Also, okay, Nynaeve, did she die? I don't think so, because she was brought back with weaves that Egwene did. Egwene can do the complex healing weaves. Okay, that's alright, I guess, fine. But she must have been mostly dead. I don't know, she looked pretty dead. I don't know, I'm not a fan of what was happening there. But moving on to something I am a fan of, Fain! I love Show Fain! I want more Show Fain. Give me more. I feel the same about Book Fain, to be honest. Give me more Fain. I love Fain. I love how much I hate Fain. He is scary. Book Fain, I was trying to think before recording if I preferred Book Fain or Show Fain, and I don't think I actually have a preference. But I think bringing Fain from the books into the show would have required a lot more screen time for Fain and a lot of exposition, because a lot of his story is stuff that happens off screen, so we would need to know that. This, like Show Fain, he's much, much cleaner, so I think it works better for the medium. And I couldn't believe how neatly things worked out. Like, he's got the dagger and the horn. We are set for book 2. How do you think he got the dagger, by the way? My bet, Leandrin. My bet is Moraine took it to the tower for safekeeping, and then Leandrin has, for some reason, given it to Fain. Oh, and my bet is that next season, Matt is going to be needed because he can follow the dagger, and then they will use Matt to track Fain, which is how they will retrieve the horn. And then, we'll get that. Okay, now moving on to what I'm guessing is the A-plot. Moraine, Rand, and Ishii at the Eye. First of all, Moraine's story about being beaten by an Aes Sedai, that's got to be a callback to New Spring and Elida. But it also triggered a memory about Galena. Did Galena do that to someone too? I feel like I remember a story about Galena doing that. Kind of try to block Galena though, because the Eye of the World itself, like the actual location, the Eye, that had to have been the hall of the Aes Sedai from the Age of Legends, right? Like, the architecture of that room fully reminded me of the Hall of the White Tower in Tar Valon or Tar Valon or whatever. So I think that's what it was, but I don't know. Who knows? That's my guess, though. The battle at the Eye between Rand and Ishii really reminded me of the last battle, to be honest, which I think, like, if we get to that point in the story, if we actually get to go through the full story, could make a really cool bookend to the series, that you have these two philosophical battles to end and start and begin the series. I think that would be really cool. I don't know. I liked how it played out. I have no idea what their plans are for future seasons, but I think doing something very different from the books in this season finale makes it actually more possible for next season to end in a more book accurate way, because if they did both season 1 and season 2 ending up with big battles in the sky, it would look lazy. You can't do that 2 years in a row. It's already a bit of a complaint about the books that the first 3 books, the ending feels repetitive. The party gets separated, the party gets back together, big battle with Ishii, quote unquote dies 3 times in a row. At least the 3rd time, it wasn't in the sky and Ishii actually did die, but it's the same thing 3 times in a row. So changing it up here actually might lead to not having to change something that could be more awesome later. The actor who played Ishamael, or the Dark One, whatever, he was great. He has charisma, and he definitely comes across as arrogant. Okay, what was that gold thing on his hand? Lu's had one on in the first scene as well, or, it looked like it was similar. What is it, a Sangreal, or Angreal, or Tarangreal? I don't know. Is it just jewelry? I doubt it, though, because it does feel like it was kind of highlighted for us to focus on it, but I don't know. Thoughts? Theories? Let me know. One of my favorite things in this episode actually was seeing the difference between the way Ishii channels and the way Moraine channels. Moraine, when she channels, has these big, wide hand movements, but even if she didn't, her weaves take time. Her weaves are slow. Ishii's are so fast. The way he placed that shield on her, which, okay, I think that's what it was. It was a shield. He didn't still her. It happened super fast, but I'm just gonna hopefully have it on repeat here right now. It looks exactly like what they did to Logain. And the weaves, they rush into her, not out, as they did with Logain when he was severed. And I think also that at the end, Ishii tied the weave off, because this quick hand gesture he does, the weaves in his fingers, they look like a knot. I love seeing the discrepancy between his ability and hers. She has seemed so powerful up until now, and he barely had to move to defeat her. And then we've got Moraine with her knife to Rand's throat, and Ishii, he doesn't care. I fully believe that's because he was in a win-win situation. He knew that if Rand chose to, turn to the dark, he won. And he knew that if Rand were to attack him, he'd crack the seal, which, okay, also, that's what I think that was. That symbol on the floor, I think that was a seal. And so if he cracked the seal, Ishii would be free. And so whatever Rand did in this situation, Ishii was going to win. One of my rewatches, as I mentioned, before my no spoiler video, I, just because of a series of circumstances, actually watched it 4 times in a day and a half. Not normal. But I noticed something really, really cool. In the final moments of the confrontation between Rand and Ishii, we see Ishii in the dream and Ishii in the eye. It's flashing back and forth between them. And their demeanor, their facial expressions, their body language is different. In the dream, or the dream shard, or whatever it is that Ishii's doing there, Ishii looks a little bit frightened, like he's pleading with Rand. He's not actually doing anything to stop Rand, which he could, but he's pleading with Rand to change his mind. Don't do it, don't do it. But in the eye, he looks smug. He's standing there, hands down, palms out, in a welcoming gesture. He's welcoming whatever Rand is about to do to him. He's waiting for it. He knew that whatever happened, he would win. Of course, I caught the little smile as he imploded the very first time, but this difference in their body language between reality and the dream whatever thingy, that was so cool. It was so well done. Also, when they show the scene from above, you can see black cord sort of holding Ishii to the seal. Again, that's what I think that is. And when it cracks, I think Rand released Ishii onto the world. Anyway, moving on to other spoilery thoughts. Apparently, show canon is that masking the bond is a thing of the power, because Moraine can't do it now that she is shielded. So I guess warders can't do it. That's somewhat different from the books. Not really a big deal, but it does kind of pose some interesting adult-themed questions that I'm not going to address here. Uno! I love Uno! If Uno is dead, I will be very, very upset. I don't think Loyal is. I'm pretty sure I saw movement from him, but not sure about Uno, and don't kill Uno. Oh, also, and the baby! Not Min's baby. I didn't think it was, despite the many people in my comments and on my Discord saying that it was, because I didn't think it was, because honestly, it felt too obvious to me. Also, I felt like at least one of her visions had to be relevant in the finale, and I knew none of the others could possibly be. Neither of the girls could possibly be, because I know exactly what those are. wolves could have shown up, but that would have been very odd. The baby, though, like an actual literal baby, made no sense to me. So I was trying to make it a metaphor for something like, I don't know, new life or whatever. I went way too esoteric in my mind, so I don't think I could get full points for my prediction that I don't think I actually ever mentioned. So, but whatever. I don't think I get full points for it, but maybe partial points, because I thought that the baby had to be relevant. I just couldn't figure out what the baby was. I didn't think it would actually be an actual baby. Anyway, I think that's it. I think those are all of my spoilery thoughts on the season finale. Despite the fact that this was my least favorite episode of the season, there was a lot that I enjoyed in it, and a lot of speculation that I can now do until season 2, which begins when? I need to know. I have had a steady diet of Wheel of Time for like a little over a month now. I cannot go cold turkey. But let me know your full spoilery thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to talk about it even more, you can come join my Discord, which I will also link in the description below. And if you like my content and you want to support me, please consider checking out my Patreon. My patrons, you are truly wonderful people, and I'm so grateful for all of you. You mean more to me than you know, and I hope you are having a wonderful time during this holiday season. Thank you so, so much. And with that, I will end this here. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.